Connection. I'm Mandy Cantrell from the B.B. Comer Memorial Library here in Sylacauga. Before I get started, I want to thank TV47, Chris, and everyone who helps us put on our program. This is a program that I'm excited about. It's something really I know nothing about. So Shannon Plexico is joining me. I'm counting on you, Shannon, to fill me in on all of this. We're going to talk about city permits and codes and license and all this, and an event you guys have coming up. I almost don't even know enough to talk about it, but that's why I'm glad you're here. So Shannon, tell about yourself first. You've worked with the city for a long time, I know.
I am. I'm the administrative assistant for the Building Services Department. Okay. We deal with the inspections and permitting for any building construction that goes on in Sylacauga within the city limits.
Okay, within the city limits. Now, what is the event you guys have coming up?
We're doing an event on home repair fraud, and the main reason behind us doing this is we have had several of our citizens that have had issues with their homes, like a fire, and an unlicensed contractor would come in and do the work, take the insurance money, and come to find out they have no license, there was no permit, no inspections, nothing was done, and the work was incorrect. So now the people are out more money to have it done by a licensed contractor to correct what the unlicensed contractor messed up.
All right, so the event is coming up August 21st, right? Home repair fraud from 12 to 2 at the library, and lunch is provided. So you need folks to call you by
Call me or email me, either one.
There it is. Okay, yeah. Is this a big problem, or maybe beginning to be a big problem?
I think it's getting to be a bigger problem than it has been in the past. Right. We have had 3 issues that we know of in the last 6 months. I'm sure there are more out there that the people don't call us. Right. We usually get notified when power has to be cut off to a house.
Oh.
Because they have to call us and we have to inspect it before the power can be restored. So if you're having work done on your house and the power does not have to be cut, it is an opportunity for an unlicensed contractor to get away with it. Okay. Much easier.
Wow. Well, and this is something I think before we started, I said, Shannon, I don't know anything about this, so I'm counting on you to tell me about it. Okay, let's say I'm going to have some work done on my house. I hire a contractor to do it. What do I need to do to protect myself?
To protect yourself, the first thing you need to do is ask for a copy of their license. Okay. If your project is over $10,000, make sure they have a state of Alabama home builder's license, and they give you a copy of that. Also, make sure they have a City of Sylacauga business license, because those are the 2 things that if a job's over $10,000, they have to have. Okay. And once they do that, make sure you ask them for a copy of their permit to prove that they did come get the permit.
Okay. And can all those be obtained at your office or city hall?
The permit comes through my office. The business license, goes through the city clerk's office, and they have to do that first before I can issue a permit.
Okay. So if they say no, then they're probably not licensed.
Right.
Or have permits.
Right.
Why is it so important that they have these permits, things like that?
These permits are basically trying to make sure that everything is code compliant, and it's to protect the property owner. In 2008, when we had the housing crash, banks started to do a new rule that if an addition was done and no permit was issued or inspections done, very rarely would they do a mortgage on that property.
Oh, and you can't go back.
And you can't go back
and fix it. Oh gosh, that could cause a lot of problems years down the road.
It could, yes.
Oh goodness. Now there is a cost for the permits and license and things, but
the cost is based on the value of the project, because the county uses our permits when they do the reappraisals on your property. Okay. And any work you have done on your house adds value to your house and your property. Or contract amount. On a lot of commercial jobs, they have to provide us a copy of their contract to do the work, and we ask for a scope of work, which is just a list of everything they're doing. Now, on a commercial job, that could be the drawings that are sent in, which on commercial, we have to have an architect do the plans. And a lot of people don't understand why, but when you're dealing with the public, coming into your
It's a
business.
city building.
Well,
Or it's
a private building, but when they're coming into your building, to do business with you, you want to make sure that they are safe in there. So we do a lot of life safety on it, sprinklers and exit lights and emergency signs and everything.
okay.
So,
Wow. How do you know that this has been done correctly? Do you have an inspector or somebody?
yes, we have 2 inspectors. We have our building inspector, Harmony Kelly, who is new. She started in January, and we took her from the fire department. She was a firefighter. And then we have what we call our MEP inspector, which is mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. And he inspects all of the utility-related items on there. And he is actually our department head, Mike Whetstone, that does those. And currently we do still have a part-time building inspector, Wayne Sayers, but he only works maybe 1 day a week now, training Harmony. And once she's fully trained, he will be in retirement full-time.
Well, good for him and good for her. I know
Yes.
that's exciting to have her on board with y'all. Wow, it just blows my mind that people would try to skirt around or get around this. And I know they're trying to cut corners and save money, but then if they're cutting corners by not getting a permit, what are they doing with your home?
Right, what else are they doing? And what corners are they cutting in your house?
Right. And they're not hard to obtain, are they?
No.
You just come in and get
It
one.
might take 5 minutes for a simple permit. Now, a commercial or industrial where they do have to send in the plans, it can take up to 2 weeks because we have 3 people that review them. Because we also have our fire inspector, Chad Toland.
Okay.
He inspects fire alarms, fire sprinkler systems, any life safety issues.
Okay.
And what will happen on these plans is they review them, they email me their notes on it on what corrections need to be made. I email it to the architect, they correct it, send it back to me, gets re-reviewed.
Oh, okay.
So it's a long drawn out process, but we do try to have those done in under 2 weeks if possible.
Well, that's something you don't want somebody to do too quickly. You
Right.
want it to be done correct.
Right.
So that's great. Well, gosh, sounds like a lot of work, but thank you for doing it. Well, we're going to pause for a commercial break, and we'll be right back and talk some more with Shannon Plexico.
Great. What am I going to do now?
Time to visit Brown's Auto Collision.
No problem at all. We've contacted your insurance company and we can get you back into original condition right away. And I just want to remind you that all of our work is covered by a lifetime warranty. We're done.
Wow, that was easy and looks great.
Brown's Auto Collision.
Where quality is no accident.
A funeral service represents a family's final farewell to their loved ones. Knowing this, we go beyond what is expected to ensure the ceremony is beautiful and memorable, a truly fitting tribute to that special life. We invite you to visit us to meet our staff and tour our renovated facility complete with a new dining area and catering services. We've been serving the people of this area for over 40 years, and we think that you'll be pleased to find that making lasting impressions remains our first priority. Curtis & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg.
Library Connection. I'm talking with Shannon Plexico. You're the administrative assistant.
Yes, ma'am.
To which department?
Building Services Department, or BSD for short.
Okay, Building Services Department. We're talking about permits and licenses and things like that. I know we were talking off camera a little bit. When a lot of people will post on Facebook, hey, do you know a good electrician? Do you know a good plumber? You know a good thing like that? What about that?
I really wish they wouldn't do that, because on all of them that I have seen, most of the people named as an electrician or a plumber
Right.
don't have their license.
Okay.
Now, they may work for a company that does have their license, but that individual doesn't.
Right.
It would be better if you're looking for a contractor, call our office. We have a list already typed up, and it's broken out into home builders, plumbers, electricians, heating and air, gas
Okay.
plumbers, and it's a list of at least 6 to 8 in each category that they can call, and these are people that are licensed and do the most work in Sylacauga.
Okay. That doesn't mean the people on Facebook are not good,
Good,
and
right.
qualified, but they just don't have
They don't have the proper
a
license.
license. And as you said before, that can hurt you years down the road.
It can.
Wow.
When somebody calls and they're doing an appraisal on a house, they will ask us, what permits have been pulled on this house? What work was done on it?
Okay.
Because that has a lot to do with how much the house appraises for.
Right.
And the county uses these permits to do the evaluations on your property and when they do reappraisals.
Yes. Now, I know we were talking too, some people will say, well, I don't live in the city limits, so does this apply to me?
Technically, it still does because the state of Alabama has adopted the same codes we have.
Okay.
And if you hire a contractor to build you a house and he doesn't have his home builder's license and the home builders board catches him, they'll fine him like $25,000 for it. And then you're out the money you've paid because he's not licensed. So yeah, it even affects those in the county, whether you know it or not.
Okay. Okay. So if I want to have some work done on my house, I need to call you.
Yes.
Call your office.
Yes.
Great. Now, I know you mentioned, or we talked about the event coming up on the 21st. It's home repair fraud. Is there a charge for this?
There is no charge for this program, and lunch will be provided.
Okay, that's why you need to know earlier
Yes.
who's coming. What are they gonna? What would I learn if I came to this?
You will learn what red flags to look for
Okay.
when you hire a contractor or when you are just vetting contractors to see which one you want to use.
Okay.
You'll know what to look for. And like I said earlier, the very first thing you ask for is a copy of their license, whether it be their home builder's license or their City of Sylacauga business license.
Okay. All right. And it's perfectly fine for us to ask for a copy of those. That's something
Yes, it
they
is.
can give
Yes.
you. Actually, we should.
Yes.
That's great. Well, I didn't realize this is such a widespread thing, I guess. And everybody's out to make a dollar. And just get, not everybody, I'm sorry, that's a bad thing to say. Everybody is not out. There are wonderful home repair contractors that do
There are.
Yes. that
And
do a
we
good
even have a list that is just the handyman that do projects under $10,000.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm gonna have to get your phone number, or as I've got it right here. I'm gonna have to call you some. That is neat. I know you said it affects seniors a lot. I think as seniors, I'll include myself in this, a little bit more trusting of people, and some people. There's always someone looking to scam somebody. So.
And a lot of people do prey on the older generation because a lot of them do not have somebody there to look over their shoulder to make sure they're making the right decisions.
Right.
And the people will go in and take advantage of them.
Gosh. And then it ends up costing them money. And if you're a senior, you may be on a fixed income.
Yes.
And all of that. So
And if it's an insurance thing, the insurance company may not do their research on whether this is a licensed contractor.
Okay.
And they give them the check, and then the insurance money's gone, but the problem's still there that has to be fixed.
Oh, goodness. Well, I'm glad y'all are doing this. And you said you maybe plan to do some more in the future.
We're going to try to do at least one, possibly two a year.
Okay.
And we're just calling it our community outreach.
Well, that's great, and it's free. And it says it's the Building Services Department of the city and State of Alabama Home Builders Licensure Board. Is
Yes,
that correct? Someone
yes.
from there is coming to
There will
talk
be
to?
2 investigators from the board coming down to talk to everybody about this.
That'll be great. And it's at the library, so y'all be sure and come. Gosh, I get it. I hear people, or I see people, hear people ask, or see people post on Facebook things like, hey, my street light is out, I've got some debris by the road, I have a pothole, something like that. Who do we call? I know City Hall. It's a big building, but there's a lot of different departments.
There are. If you have a pothole, you call the street department.
Okay.
If your street light is out, call the utility board. If your power's out, call the utility board. If you have limbs on the side of the road, you'll need to call the street department on that one. And one of the big things we're having right now is stray animals.
Yes.
And used to, it was you called the police department. Well, you no longer call the police department. You call the animal shelter when you have a stray dog, which I've had the opportunity to experience this myself. Back in June, I had 3 puppies show up that were antagonizing my dogs, and I called the animal shelter, and they were there and picked them up within 30 minutes to an hour.
Wow. So, yeah. There's always a certain way to do things. People don't always know who to ask. We always just want to, I want to call somebody or want to ask somebody and find out something.
Well, if you ask the people around town, who do you call to ask a question, they're going to tell you me.
Okay. You are the woman with all the answers, or you can direct
I
us.
have been told I'm the go-to girl.
Okay,
You
good.
can, if you call the Chamber of Commerce, and they'll tell you the same thing.
So we call you, and you can either answer the question
Or send you to who needs
or
to
send
answer
you to
it.
who needs to
Yes.
answer it. Wow, and there are a lot of questions, I know. Gosh, well, we're going to pause for another commercial break, and we'll be right back and talk some more with Shannon.
Coosa Valley Medical Center, one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama, is also Sylacauga's largest employer. Services from the emergency room to surgery to cancer treatment to post-stroke care. You won't believe what's right in your backyard. It's Coosa Valley Medical Center in Sylacauga. So, if you're sick in Alabama, choose one of the top 10 hospitals in Alabama. That is Coosa Valley Medical Center.
There's a lot in life to smile about. Are loose dentures or missing teeth keeping you from enjoying the things you love? Don't miss out on enjoying life's precious moments. You can be you again with affordable mini dental implants. You can smile again, laugh out loud, and have your self-confidence back. Let us help you make it memorable.
I'm Dr. Rick Redmond. Call me today for a free consultation and give me the opportunity to change your life.
The all-new Marble City Pharmacy in Sylacauga is your destination for the highest quality health care. Our remodeled and expanded pharmacy gives us the space to serve more patients. We've added a drive-through window for those times when you don't feel like getting out of your vehicle. And we still offer delivery within city limits. We feature a full line of over-the-counter medications and supplements. And don't forget our stunning new gift department. New building, same great people. Marble City Pharmacy, here for life.
Welcome back to Library Connection. I'm talking with Shannon Plexico with the, what is your?
Building Services Department.
I didn't write that down. Building Services Department at City Hall, or the Sylacauga Municipal Complex. I know it's it's more than just a hall. I know it's a large building, but we're talking about a program y'all have coming up. We're going to talk some more about that in just a few minutes. The home repair fraud luncheon thing to educate people about that. But we were talking about permitting and codes and licenses. I really don't know anything about this, so just kind of explain some of that. What are permits?
A permit is basically, it's our way of tracking the job being done.
Okay.
And it's what gives the contractor permission to do the work.
Okay.
During COVID, when our offices were actually closed to the public,
Right.
we found a software that allows us to basically do this by email, phone calls, and never actually see the people face to face.
Okay.
And we have had a problem in the past with E911 changing addresses on us.
Okay.
So when I would go in our old system to look for an address, it may not show up because 911 had changed the address.
Right.
Well, now we actually use the county tax maps, and the permits are put on that specific piece of property.
Okay.
So even if the address is changed 20 years from now, it's still going to show a permit was issued on that property for an electrical job.
Okay. The permit is on the property,
on the
not
property.
on the person or
Right.
the country. It's on
Right,
the property.
it's on the property.
Okay.
And to start the permitting process, if a homeowner is wanting to do something, they would need to call us, explain what they're doing, and we would let them know whether a permit is required or not.
Okay.
We don't permit siding or painting, flooring, just putting new flooring down. We don't permit that kind of stuff. That's basically cosmetic.
Okay.
So something that is just cosmetic only doesn't require a permit.
Okay.
But they would come in, they would tell us what they're wanting to do, or they would email it to us with a drawing. Let's say you're going to add a roof over your deck.
Right.
You draw out how you're going to build that roof, and it can just be on notebook paper.
Okay. If I'm going to do it myself.
If you're going to do it yourself,
yes.
you can just draw it on notebook paper.
Okay.
The building inspector will look at it and make sure that the correct size lumber is used and everything's done, is going to be done
Yes.
correctly.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we would issue the permit. For a commercial job, it's a lot different. They do have to have an architect or an engineer send us in stamped plans for that.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
And then we review it just like we spoke about earlier,
Yes.
and it could take up to 2 weeks to get that done. And then the permit's issued and it's put on that piece of property so that it's there forever. And we
it's on
know what's
record.
been done there. Yes.
Okay. Now, I think of it too, if I want to buy a house or a piece of property, I need to check that, don't I?
Yes.
Permits that have been.
Yes. And call our office to make sure, if it says it's in the city limits, call and make sure that it actually is, if that's what you're looking for.
Right.
Because sometimes they'll put in there that it's in the city limits when it's not.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I never thought about that.
Yes.
Wow, so there's a lot, and I may even think it's in the city limits, but I don't know.
Right, and you may not know.
And that doesn't matter what I think. Really, it's whatever is legally on paper.
Right.
Wow.
And if it's not in the city limits and you want it in the city limits, you call me and we'll talk about annexation.
Wow. Shannon, you cover all of it, don't you?
I do.
All right. Now, I know codes. What are codes? I know I hear that word go around.
Codes are standards that govern how a building is built.
Okay.
And the minimum requirements
Okay.
that have to go into this building to make it inhabitable and safe.
Well, that makes sense. There has to be some type of guideline to go by.
They're called minimum standards.
Minimum. Okay.
Yeah.
You can do more, but
Right.
but
You
they
can
are
do more, but not less.
Okay. So permits, license, and codes. And
Inspections.
Inspections, yes. What about that?
Inspections. They do about 5 inspections per job on commercial jobs.
Okay.
Residential, they also do. They do foundation. They start with that, framing,
Okay.
rough electrical, plumbing, and heating and air, and then they do finals on those. So there's several inspections that have to be done, and all of these inspections are logged on a tablet on that
Okay,
permit
yes.
as they're doing them, and can be emailed to the homeowner and the contractor right there from site.
Okay. How do we schedule that?
You call me
Call
or
you.
email me. Call me or email me.
Okay,
I prefer emails because that gives us a paper trail to go back on.
I do too. Is there a cost for inspections and things like that?
No, the inspections are covered by the building permit cost.
Okay. Okay. Wow. There's just so much. I'm glad. I mean, I'm not a handyman. My husband and I, and if he were here, I'd say the same thing. We don't do any of this ourselves. So I'm excited to find out exactly the process to go through to make sure our property is done well and financially everything saving me money, or not. I'm not out necessarily to save money, but to make sure I'm spending my money wisely
Right.
on what it needs
Yeah.
to be spent for. That is awesome. Well, we got a few more minutes, but let's talk about the event. It is the home repair fraud. This is a speaker from, I'll let you tell it, Building and Services.
Okay. All right, we are hosting the Alabama Home Builders Licensure Board to come in and speak to our citizens on what to look for to prevent home repair fraud.
Okay.
This is a program that we have been trying to organize for several years now. And it happened just one day by talking to the Home Builders Licensure Board about some brochures that I wanted to order.
Yeah.
And I mentioned I was wanting to do this, and she said, give me a date, we'll be there.
Oh, wow.
So then I called Tracy, and
Yeah.
we got it organized in short order, and now we're going to have our first community outreach program from the Building Services Department.
And this is for anyone.
It's for anyone. It really doesn't matter who you are. If you're looking to have work done or just think you might want to in the future, come and listen to what they have to say so that you will know, you'll arm yourself to not be taken advantage of.
You have some others planned, or you got some ideas in your head?
The next one will be on permitting, on
Okay.
when building permits are required, how you get them, and that kind of, and the inspection process. I'm not sure when it'll be, but hopefully within the next 6 months.
Okay, yeah, well, we'll be looking for that. And I know you said calling you is the best way to find out,
Yes.
or send an email and find out about all this. I'm just blown away. I went to the website, I know, and was looking about permits and codes and licenses. There's a lot to it that I bet a lot of people just don't know.
There are. There are probably 8 books that our inspectors use to make sure everything's up to code.
Okay.
And that's not something that they can memorize.
Oh, no.
Because
gosh,
these books are like, some of them, 2 of them are over 1,000 pages each.
Wow. There's a lot to it.
There is.
So, and I know that's what you do, but Harmony, you said, is the inspector, and she
is.
new, coming on, learning a lot.
Yes,
I
she
bet.
is. She is like a sponge and soaks all the information up. But she's our building inspector now. She came on in January of this year.
Okay, great. Well, fine. Anything else we need to know before we build or before we hire someone? We've got about a minute left or so. I just wanted to
Just call us.
just call you.
Just call us and we'll
Wow.
find out what you're doing and determine whether it's something that needs to be permitted. One other thing I do need to mention,
yes.
we've had some phone calls, roofing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We do require permits for roof jobs, whether it's residential or commercial.
Okay.
And since Harmony has come on as our building inspector, she has got our drone up and running. So if you've had a roof put on recently and you see a drone flying over, they're just doing an inspection on your roofing job.
The drone really changes things, doesn't it?
It does.
That's
It
great,
really
though.
does.
Good
And
pictures.
we don't call and say, hey, we're coming out to look at your roof. She just gets a whole list of the roofing jobs that have been done, and she checks them off one by one as she goes and flies the drone over them.
Wow. Technology, it's wonderful.
Yes.
It is wonderful. Well, gosh, Shannon, I appreciate you coming in. I've learned a lot, or maybe learned that there's a lot I don't know, and I need to call you or email you one day and
Yes.
find out some more. But this is exciting, and I'm excited about the event you have coming up the 21st. Reservations have to be in by the 14th.
The 14th, yes.
So you'll get a lunch and come and learn all about what you need to do. So.
And on your reservations, if you would like, please put your drink preference on there.
Oh, okay.
So that will help me buy drinks.
That's right. Well, thank you, Shannon, so much for sharing a lot of this information. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you for joining us on Library Connect.